We did it. We've taken the New York Giants from the bottom of the NFC East to the top of the NFL once again. We have our first Super Bowl title of the series, and it's come a lot quicker than I thought it would. I had a lot of fun this season, and it's one of our best seasons in any rebuild on the channel. This was, now looking back, now that it's done, we can say it's one of the most dominant teams that has been on this channel in any of these rebuilds. We lost 2 games all season, had 1 tie as well, ended the year with 10 straight victories, had a dominant playoff run. This was a very special team, and a few things really had to come together in the beginning to make this run possible. So today we're going through the offseason, seeing how well we can keep this team together, and there are some challenges because so many of the players that made this possible were not making top tier NFL money. Let's take a look at our salaries right here. This is what we had in 2024. So we made the trade for Michael Thomas. That was a huge move. Not everybody liked it in the beginning, and we gave up a first-round pick to do it. And Andrew Thomas. He had the highest salary cap number on the team at 19.7. Teron Armstead, I was just wanting an elite offensive lineman, 18.4 million, and he should be under contract for next season. James Bradbury, 17.1. Saquon Barkley, a high-paid running back contract. Keep in mind, this was actually a 3-year deal I had put together. I still can't believe it worked. That's obviously worked out really well for us. Saquon Barkley had an unbelievable season. But we've relied on a lot of players who are currently on their rookie contracts. And of course, there's Brian Petrovsky, who is now going to be entering his contract season. He just got star dev. He's an 84 overall. Morale is really helping out right now. And by the time he signs, I'm not sure what overall he will be. But I think we have to count on that number being closer to $30-35 million for a cap hit. But there's also Kadarius Toney, who's set to be a free agent in just a few minutes. Azeez Ojulari, he's now in line to get a monster extension possibly. And he just played on the last year of his rookie contract, so it wasn't a ton of cap space for him. And there are other contributors on the team as well. Without a doubt, keeping this exact core together won't be possible, but we'll have to see what we're able to do. It's always just a matter of making things fit, and I think we're getting to the point now where we have to set aside some future money for Petrovsky, and there will be some tough decisions made today. Some players will be going, and then we have to use this draft to try and build up our depth again and kind of start over at a few spots, mostly for backups, but keep in mind, no first round pick, no second round pick. So we're not getting to draft until 96 overall unless I trade up. And I'm not feeling like I'll be doing a lot of that. I will consider it with this third rounder, but I think this is a good chance for us to add some depth and balance out the salary cap that way. I do have a few targets I have written down, so hopefully we can make this draft count. And one final look here at the season stats before we move on to the offseason. We just were good at really everything. Passing, running, sacking quarterbacks, getting interceptions, holding teams to 17 points for 6 out of 7 weeks. I mean, we are a really special team. And now my job is to make sure that this isn't temporary. The Giants won their Super Bowl, their second in that stretch where they beat the undefeated Patriots and then won again. That was the 2012 season, I want to say, or maybe it was 2011. But after that, the Giants had a decade of disappointment. And now we've finally gotten that one big season, that breakout year, and we want to make sure that we can come back for more. So, the title defense is about to begin as we move on to our offseason. I wonder if we'll lose any coordinators. Now, I haven't done a lot of upgrading to them. I will if they stay on staff. Our coordinators are still staying here, so that is very fortunate. Thomas Quinn has a lot of talents unlocked. Not too many for Todd Walters. There are a couple I want to work on. But I've been mostly putting the XP or the staff points into Russ Watson. And I did end up buying the ratings regression slowdown for corners. I did not do it for wide receivers because I wanted it to help Bradbury and Adoree Jackson. I did spend some staff points today on wide receiver development. I shockingly haven't yet for running back, but with Saquon Barkley, I don't think I have to worry too much about development. Gotta save the points for something else. Here's an upgrade for quarterback, Brian Petrovsky. Oh, I think that just took him to an 86, plus 2 throw power. He just lost Scrambler, by the way. I'll try and fix that, or get it back. You really want Scrambler so that quarterbacks will actually use their speed and move outside the pocket more often. But hey, I don't think that Petrovsky's running was actually all that important to our Super Bowl run. It's a part of it, but from the pocket, he's done a very good job, and the offense does so many things well. We'll see how that goes, but now he's got 95 throw power. That's pretty scary. We're going to upgrade Kadarius Toney. Yes, that will raise his contract demand, but that's how I've always done it and always will do it. Just check out those ranks there. How do you even follow up this season? It's going to be so difficult. We just set the bar so high. Oh yeah, we get this fantastic screen now, the season recap. By the way, we still have no data on the awards for this season. I forget why. I think I had server issues. I did have server issues a lot in this 2023 season. I don't think I've been kicked one time in this season, and I spent a month doing it. I can't believe I spent a whole month here in a rebuild season, but it was the right year to make that call. Jabril Peppers, by the way, was the Super Bowl MVP. So indeed, he certainly has come a long way from being moved to running back in my Browns rebuild franchise. What a time that was. So let's move on to re-signing players. Actually, I wish they had the regression screen here, but let's take a look at regression anyway, manually. So as we sort by age here, we do have best kicker, Justin Tucker. Didn't lose a whole lot. 4 Super Bowl wins. Wow. Teron Armstead didn't lose too many either. Michael Thomas was one of the key players here, and he did lose a handful, but it shouldn't be too much. Wow, they dropped Bradbury's development and only a couple points on his skill regression. I'm curious why he even lost Superstar Dev, because he had 7 interceptions. He was so good. I know a lot don't like the dev trait regression, and this is an instance where I don't like it. But overall, I do think it's good for franchise, so players don't keep it forever. Leonard Williams, he loses 10 points total. Tackling, block shed. Looks like his run stopping takes most of the hit there, and that was really his strength. I don't think it was being a pass rusher. We're probably letting Williams go. Jabril Peppers, no regression. That's what I like to see. And I'm curious, well, Saquon's still a 99, so I don't think I have to worry about it. They didn't take away any points. You never know, at 28 years old, they do at times. There's probably no need to check out the mock drafts, considering we don't pick in the first 2 rounds. Retirements, though. Teron Armstead considered it during the year, and he ended up staying with the team. We went on the run, got the Super Bowl. And really, his retirement was the start of us watching so many games, because I couldn't just sim and potentially lose our best offensive lineman. That would be awful storytelling for the series. So I love how that all played out, and Brady's finally done. So we do have plenty of cap space at the moment, but that is quickly going to change as we sign some of the key players. Right now, I do want Thomas to come back. I want Bradbury to come back. I have to make my call now on Azeez Ojulari. 5 years, 109. To me, this feels like a tag and play scenario. Keep him for this year on the franchise tag, and then make the call next year on either paying him or Antonio Golson. Sterling Shepard, I think we have the replacement for him on roster now. I've had that planned out. Eric Kendricks, we're going to move on from him. But here's where things start to get more difficult, and this is why you want to make sure players are getting enough XP, because we have CJ Anderson here, 74 overall. $5 million a year? You have to think about it. A backup getting $5 million a year is doable on certain rosters. Is ours one of them? Anderson's just a solid run stopper who's developed really well for us. I love to keep him on the team. But again, at $5 million a year, I don't know if it'll work. Kyle Myers going to go. Luke Cook will be the QB2 going forward. And then we have Kadarius Toney, and I didn't think I'd want to re-sign him. By the end of the year, I feel like he picked up his play and had some key games for us, and I felt like he's probably earned this extension with us. So let's start it off here. I have to make good offers too. I don't want to lowball or have this go to free agency. I need to know certain things right now. So I'm okay with $20 million a year for Michael Thomas. Although he didn't catch the ball as much as we thought he would, he plays the slot. He did everything at a high level, including going downfield to make big plays, and he makes it so much easier on everybody else. And if for whatever reason things didn't work out, I think that his contract would be pretty tradable. So I definitely want to offer a $20 million a year contract to keep Thomas with the Giants, and he will sign. Next up, James Bradbury. Do we want just one more year or try to make this a multi-year offer? Probably just go 1 year at a time. It's not quite like MLB's system where you add on extra years and they immediately tell you, like, okay, if you want to go 2 years, we can cut the money per year down 10%. Like, that system is more intuitive for those kind of contracts, so I don't tend to do those a lot in Madden. Bradbury's coming back. Of course, I want Justin Tucker to return as well, and he will. AJ Cole only had to punt 37 times this year. Are you kidding me? Do we need to sign Cole here to this big deal? We don't seem to punt all that much. I'll have to think about it for real. Oh, wow. Leonard Williams, 1 year, 9.5. I think on a different team that'll be a good fit, but not here. It's more reasonable, though. It's not a bad contract. I always prioritize depth along the O-line, and I do have at least one player here I'm going to take a look at making a focus player or an individual workout player to get some more information. But I do like Sergio Angulo. He's only 25 years old, entering year 3, and I like his pass block finesse a lot. He's a solid backup to have, and he's also not a liability in the run game. He just doesn't handle power very well. I'm expecting the Vikings to offer a trade for him at any moment, but for now, 2 years, 10, I can probably go to free agency and do a little bit better than that, I think, but I want him back on the team. Aaron Slay has been my favorite player to replace Sterling Shepard's role as that route runner who can play inside, outside, and just get open. He does have a lot more developing to do, but he was an undrafted free agent, got a lot of progress in his first year. Now, I already have to sign him to basically a veteran contract, which is very annoying. I wish they'd add UDFA contracts, but I'll make it work. I'm going to let Aaron Robinson test. I just think that schematically we don't call enough man coverage, So we're probably better off developing another corner, and he's not a regular starter. I don't see the reason to have depth that is already close to regression. I absolutely want to re-sign Quincy Roche, and I will, to this contract here, because I actually think our edge depth is a little suspect right now outside of Roche. Tyler Beltran hasn't really developed how I hoped, and I'm not sure we're going to have Golson and Ojulari going forward beyond this coming season. So I'd plan on drafting to address this, but we've seen enough from Roche to know we can trust him. If he had to start for any length of time, he can do that. At the same time, Raymond Johnson III has been developing. He did have that one splash in the preseason a while ago. And again, I just want good depth, and I know that we don't have a lot of picks this year for players who are going to be contributing early. Like anybody we draft this year, don't count on starting. We don't pick until the 96th selection. Those players need to develop, and then Johnson, already a 74 overall, is game ready. Ben Bredesen, solid. I'm still going to look at some guard depth. I'll wait on him, but he might return. I'm writing everybody down here that I need to check on later, including CJ Anderson. We'll come back to Gordon Bright as well. And I think we will sign AJ Cole. Let's just keep our special teams strong. One less thing to worry about. We have plenty of cap space right now. And 2 more players. Kadarius Toney, I would like to offer the extension to, especially because I might just end up liking him more than Rashawn Graham. I mean, if we watch another year and it seems that Toney has separated himself, then he's just the guy we would stick with long term, and then maybe Graham walks. Graham certainly has some developing to do still, so we are signing Toney, and that leaves us with Azeez Ojulari, and signing him still leaves us with 53. It feels like we have unlimited cap space. There certainly are some players we have to think about for next year, so you want to have some set aside for beyond 2025. So we know we're going to have Luke Pope, we'll have Ruben Knight, Chris Basley, Golson, Adkins, Barkley, Bradbury again, Lawrence. There will be a lot of deals to consider again next year. But this Ojulari contract feels very doable right now. He is only 25 years old, so he was a young rookie coming into the league. He's coming off a career-high 12.5 sacks. Every year he's increased his sack count, and he's been healthy for most of his career. He's only missed a few games. I'm going to make the offer. I think we can make this work. The cap space isn't creating too much of a problem. I know next year you count like 30 for Petrovsky. So is there enough left over for him? Yes. You do have some other deals that, they're not all going to fit. If Barkley comes back and Jabril Peppers, it's going to be tough. But I think we can make this work for Azeez Ojulari. This isn't bad. There is also the franchise tag. The only thing that would happen then is he would inevitably have his ratings go up even more and likely be looking at an even greater extension next season. I would say at least tack on 10-15% onto the total value. I'm making the offer. And Ojulari does sign the monster $109 million extension. We'll see what happens here, but that does also leave us the franchise tag. Not that I'm going to use it here. I would only use it on a fullback or a special teamer. Not going to use it on a position player. If he has a monster season and duplicates what he did this year, I think that's going to look like a really good contract. He's gotten 4 years of good play, though. I think that was a pretty good chance to take. But You know, looking back now, I could have signed him for like 5 years, $75 million towards the beginning of the year. So waiting caused the value to go up by 25, 30%. So we still have $50 million for the coming season. And that's incredible considering it feels like we already have our whole team in place. There isn't a lot we're missing. There's still quarterback Brian Petrovsky, Saquon Barkley, all the receivers, all the offensive linemen. This whole offense remains intact. Oh, by the way, did you notice that Tavares Towns has superstar development? We need to make sure he has more chances this season. Yeah, I think right now we still have like 21 of 22 starters under contract, which is unbelievable that we could maybe only lose Leonard Williams and still have money to spend. But what we spend needs to be more like 1-year deals if we do anything. Multi-year contracts start to mess with extensions we need to work on for next year. Yes, everybody wants Jamar Chase. And here are the other top free agents. Still not the best free agent class. It'll take a while for the XP sliders to really have their effect on the league. Oh wow, there is actually a lot of interest in Sergio Angulo, so I might not be able to get him on a smaller contract. I might even have to raise it eventually. We'll take care of all the players I wanted to return and then see what's left over. Edge rushing contracts here in Madden have gotten really, really difficult. Shaq Barrett's one of the most interesting veterans we could sign for one season, and basically offering him $10.5 million at 82 overall is probably not anywhere close to getting the job done. And that helps show you why Azeez Ojulari's contract demands were so much. And that's weird because Chandler Jones has a totally different type of demand and honestly has better ratings. So I'll try to sign Chandler Jones then to be a rotational edge rusher. That's a 100-point offer. Like the same contract for Shaq Barrett's 47. Just because he's listed as a left outside linebacker. I don't get that. Boosted the contract a little bit for Chandler Jones, but here are the offers right now. I want to keep the team intact. That doesn't seem too difficult. That would leave us about $26 million in cap space, which I expect we just kind of go into the season with. And we do sign Sergio Angulo, Ben Bredesen, and Chandler Jones. CJ Anderson remains unsigned. Wow, there's actually a ton of interest in him now. Really interesting. I can still be in first place and offer probably under $10 million here. I think I'll keep it right there. I would be comfortable with him playing a lot more often, moving on from Leonard Williams, and he is a good run stopper. And we certainly don't want to go from that being a weakness to a major strength to anything less going forward. And CJ Anderson has returned. So we have lost Leonard Williams, Eric Kendricks, a couple of veterans, but overall, the team remains mostly the same. Jamar Chase is going to the New York Jets. I think ideally here with the XP sliders, you'd want to end up with Chase being somewhere in the mid-90s to raise that contract demand even more. And I have boosted it. It just needs more time to affect all the players. But I didn't go after Jamar Chase. I probably could have been competitive with like a big 1-year offer. But he'll be heading to the Jets. Xavier Howard to the Saints. Jack Fox, Jonah Williams, nice contract. Greg Newsome gets a nice deal. But yeah, hopefully we start to see free agency be better starting next season. Oh wow, Leonard Williams is going to the Cowboys. Interesting. We'll be seeing him again. So I know we haven't gone through the draft class very much, and after spending a few drafts now with this new system, I think it's got pieces of a solid system, but it does take a lot of time to really feel like you have an understanding for the draft. And even then, you have very incomplete scouting profiles where you're just hoping that the right ratings get unlocked. So in the earlier drafts, I spent a lot more time getting to know like every player I felt was necessary. I haven't put in the same amount of time, especially for this class, considering that I don't pick until number 96 right now. We're going to take a look at the private workout players, starting with corner Dante McCallum. He is a man cover corner, 6'1", 207. So we just got rid of Aaron Robinson. Said he wasn't much of a fit. But McCallum has basically the same skill set. He's a man cover corner. You can always try to work on the zone coverage. Good in press. Okay tackling. Good kick return too. So that tells you his athleticism should be pretty decent. His Pro Day 40, though, was a lot better than his Combine 40. There's a little worry there, I think, about his speed. And actually, you want to look more to the left-hand side. His speed is poor. Expect closer to that 4.56 than the 4.49 then. All right, next up, left tackle Theo Herbert from Ohio State. Wow. A awareness, B run block, B pass block and run block finesse, C power ratings. He's definitely an excellent target to look at here, and we do need some offensive line depth going forward. And finally, Frank Sermon, edge rusher from Georgia. The last time we took an edge rusher from Georgia, it seemed to work out pretty good for the Giants. So here's Frank Sermon, B finesse, D power, B awareness. I think there's enough on day one for him to potentially contribute a little bit. Great speed, elite jumping, elite agility, good acceleration. Gotta love the athleticism here, and if you can get him in the 3rd or 4th round, that seems like a solid value. I obviously don't have many players on the board here. I'm going to be figuring a lot of it out as we go. I'd rather see how the draft unfolds a little bit, and then I'll just do a lot of it during the draft. Not how I normally do things, but this system just takes so much time to go into every profile, and then you have to back out and go into all the other ones. I know that for a lot more casual players of franchise, this new system is probably a major step back for your experience. I really hope they address the quality of life, because there's potential here for a good system, but it certainly needs a couple revisions. And it's time for the NFL Draft, with the Steelers picking number 1. And we'll get this draft underway with the newest quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Clay Palmer. I want to say he was like right at the top of the draft board. And the number 1 team takes the number 1 quarterback. The Broncos, Rashawn Hooker, top left tackle in the class. Patriots are going to go with a quarterback, Bruce Madden. What does this mean for Mac Jones? Probably not a lot, the way Madden handles depth charts and everything. I'm sure Mac will keep him on the bench for his entire contract. Jonathan Heck going to Washington, Byron Scott, wide receiver. Now, there's potential for us to move up as the Saints go with a quarterback, but I won't be here in the 1st round. Just wanted to see what positions everybody's taking when the quarterbacks go. I'm liking that quarterbacks are going earlier, but how are we in a spot now where teams with 85 overall quarterbacks that are in their 20s are taking 1st round QBs? I don't get it. Miami's taking Reggie Barrett. I think Tua went to Pittsburgh, so I don't know what their situation is right now. Does this make sense? Probably not, unless Graham had like a bad season here. Shenard Graham has some solid ratings and probably shouldn't be replaced by a 1st rounder. Oh, he's never played? So now they have this big quarterback competition coming up. And that one could actually be interesting because their ratings might be really close together. But they just took him in the first round, number 2 last year, and he didn't play. Yeah. The draft logic backwards in Madden 22. The Bills just took a first-round quarterback. There's no way that's a good idea. Man, I'm happy we got Brian Petrovsky when we did. Because, like, needing a quarterback in this draft and thinking, like, oh, I can wait until X pick, you're fooling yourself if you're doing that. 96 overall Josh Allen. Did he tear his Achilles yesterday? No. This pick doesn't make any sense. Why would the Bills take a first-round quarterback? Dwayne Wayne, Doug Watson. It was a good corner class. I think for a while I forgot I didn't have any first or second round picks, so I can't really take advantage of it like I wanted to. But we'll see. Come middle of the second round is when I'd start to consider trading up. And I'll see who's available at that time as the Ravens take a quarterback. Yeah, all these picks don't make sense. There's no way there was 7 first-round caliber quarterbacks. We're checking out those ratings. So there is one cornerback here who is also a man-to-man corner. What's his speed looking like? Elite. So an elite caliber athlete with man cover ability, but his zone is a C, so it's different than the last corner we looked at, rating-wise. He can also tackle and hit. If we wanted to move up for Juan Elam, that would probably work out pretty well. I like him. Without going into future picks, though, I don't see this working out. And he's going right to Tennessee with their selection. I really like both Frank Sermon and Theo Herbert. They're very close together on the available board, so I may have to choose between one of them. Actually, I have that early 4, but we're also like 16 picks away from me being on the clock, so I don't know. Hey, when you want players, you gotta go make your move here in the draft. We're not waiting around. We're moving up, actually, giving up a couple of spots, or a couple of picks, 4th and a 7th rounder to move up 16 spots in the draft. I'm going to take Frank Sermon. I really like his athleticism and his finesse rushing ability, and this is one of the things I absolutely wanted to address in this class. So Sermon is the pick. Normal development, 85 speed, that acceleration's at 83. Really excited to see how he fits into the defense. Theo Herbert went the very next pick. I didn't think it would be so soon. We'll check out his ratings. And I'm guessing he'll probably be a higher overall player. I was kind of prioritizing need there. I really wanted to make sure we got the edge rusher I liked. We already have at least one good backup tackle, but that one could hurt. I had another tackle on my board that I only have 40% scouted. This is Marquise Barton, Central Michigan. Strength is great, acceleration great. A impact block, C pass. I'd like to have a bit more info, but I think here in the 4th round, impact looks good. The pass block rating, you never know with that one, and his athleticism looks good. There's probably a couple of low ratings, and that's why he's falling, but I'll end his fall here in the 4th round. I wrote down one corner earlier, and that is Dave Matthews, who has some press ability at 5'9", 184. I know he has good block shed. Don't know his coverage ratings. Only 5'9", 184. I think I'll still definitely take him here. He's got really good speed too. And there you go, Matthews, normal dev. I'm not waiting around on this next player, even though he's projected undrafted. I wrote his name down. That means I liked him. And I'm just going to get the players I have interest in here. Nick Gresham, 6'1", 224, safety. What do we know? That he's a good athlete, solid speed, decent strength, good acceleration, with B catching, A kick return. A safety with this size that can return kicks. I'll take the athletic upside here in the 6th round. Hidden development. Wow. We're going to take Andrew Simmons here, an interior pass rusher. I see B finesse moves. His athleticism is at least solid, I'd say. So here in the 6th round, we'll take him. And here with our final pick in the 7th round, it's going to be a running back, of course. Kadeem McCree, who does protect the football, suffers some concentration drops and fights for every inch as a runner. McCree has some of the best speed at running back in this draft class, really good shuttle as well. Acceleration, though, they have listed as poor. I guess that 3-cone at the combine might have been closer to the truth, but even decent strength is there. A kick return, just taking a chance on a player here. And let's take a look at the ratings. So, 69 overall Frank Sermon, 62 Marquise Barton, 64 Dave Matthews, 66 Nick Gresham. Not the best overalls here, and of course, didn't have any early picks. I went all in on last year, and that was the right call. But this draft might not help us as much. But we have to go through some more ratings too before I check out other players. But I did like Frank Sermon enough to trade up for him. He does have pass rush ability. He will add depth there. I'm wondering, though, if the tackle was the right pick, because his ratings were really solid. I still wanted to take a tackle and selected Marquise Barton, who has a long way to go. These ratings are all pretty low. Dave Matthews at corner. Man coverage over zone, 91 speed. Yeah, you're looking at mostly backup, maybe practice squad caliber players overall. But we did get a hidden dev player late, and that was Nick Gresham. I wanted to look at safeties who had size. Gresham, 88 speed. Not a great tackler, not a polished player right now. So while he has hidden dev, he kind of loses that probably if we don't put him on the field, but he's also not ready to play. So we'll have to figure out what to do with him exactly. Andrew Simmons, rated a bit lower than I expected him to be. But that B finesse moves only turned into 66. And then Kadeem McCree. Looks like we do have a little speed there. Acceleration's a bit low, though. Would like more agility as well. Overall, certainly not going to go down as a great draft class. Let's take a look at the pick the Packers made here in the 3rd round. Theo Herbert, 71 overall. If he has hidden dev, just end the video. See you later, guys. Have a good day. Man, I can't believe that. I knew his ratings were going to be solid as well. I also thought I was going to get both players. Herbert was listed lower on the available board. I knew I wanted to get an edge rusher. He'd be perfect to develop and take over for Teron Armstead. Packers took 4 players in the 70s here. This is a pretty solid draft for them. Not bad. How about all these quarterbacks? Were they even rated well enough to go early like this? Clay Palmer went to Pittsburgh. Hidden dev. Number 1 quarterback. Wow, pretty solid passing ratings here across the board. Bruce Madden, 78 hidden dev. Wow. Those are all good ratings. Jake Gates, normal for him. Rating's still pretty good, just a step below the other quarterbacks. And then Reggie Barrett's a 76, 72, Tony Matthews. Like, I don't understand the Bills and Ravens taking quarterbacks here. It was a good QB class, but they shouldn't have gone there. Also, how good was Juan Elam? I considered trading up for a 77 overall player. Normal dev. Yeah, he's pretty good. Got to work on press, and normal dev will slow things down, but he should be good. All right, let's make some undrafted signings now. We're going to bring in Jason Weaver from Vanderbilt. We have some depth receivers that are better in the slot. And you can do whatever you want here with Weaver's route runnings, but given he already has good speed and 77 release, you want to make him a deep threat. How about guard Matthew Riles from Ohio State? 85 strength, decent against the pass. And when it comes to backups, I tend to lean towards pass blocking in that case, because I don't want a backup coming in and all of a sudden just a ton of sack production. It might still happen, but that's just my strategy for it. Here's an interesting rookie from Clemson, John Townsend. With his athleticism, he should have been drafted. 88 strength, 72 speed, 78 acceleration. All the football skills are low, but he's a perfect practice squad candidate. Here's a safety I'd like to have on the practice squad, Nick Kirkland from Alabama. 88 speed with a decent start for man coverage, 64 zone. Not going to be great tackling, but just another option to develop into a backup safety. And that will lead us into our next season, defending our Super Bowl title. We still have $24 million in cap space. I can't believe that. I thought we would have way less and would not be able to keep as many players as we did. So something made things a lot easier for us this year, but we have a lot of contracts coming up we'll have to take care of and plan for. We opened the season as well against Kansas City. That's going to be a good one. I'm not sure there's any reason for us to watch the preseason games other than it's an excuse to stream and it's fun, which is always a good reason, but we can always just get right to week one if that's what you prefer. I do want to raise the injury rating a little bit this year, the injury slider. It started to be more of a factor last season, but I'd like it to be a little more. Again, it's all default 50s here. That's how I like to do these CPU rebuilds. I'm going to 44 injury. We'll see how that goes. Probably leave it there the entire season. Not the most exciting offseason, but they can't all be when you're very aggressive like we were to try and win a Super Bowl. Well, we've done it, and now we'll try to defend it. Let me know what you think of our chances to do so as we return almost every starter from a year ago. Are we going to run through the league yet again? Leave your thoughts down below. Please leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all when we get this season underway. Have a great day, everybody.